Question from Wendy. Hi, Andrew. I've been thinking of getting some kind of in-home simulator that would allow me to practice shooting accuracy. I'd also like one that presents shoot, don't shoot, home invasion, or other site scenarios. Do you recommend a particular simulation program kit? I think, Wendy, you might have asked this as a platinum Q&A question too, right? I think I saw that when I was prepping for today's show. So shooting simulators. So for many years, when I was still traveling, teaching travel classes, I was traveling 40, 45 weekends a year, teaching live classes all over the country. I would bring with me a very high-end self-defense shooting simulator, the same kind used by police departments. So it was a $20,000 machine in a giant Pelican case that I would bring with me to the classes. And we would do a full day Law of Self-Defense advanced course. To remind you folks, that's this course that you can sign up for right now at 50% off. Our next advanced course is on April 15th, Saturday, April 15th of this year. We only do 1 or 2 of these a year. This might be the only one for 2023, folks. Something to keep in mind. If we do a second one, it won't be until probably late October. Do you really have until late October to really understand the law of self-defense? Do you decide the time, place, and manner in which you're attacked or your family is attacked? Don't you need this information on board before that happens? And you can't predict when that'll happen. So I would encourage you to take advantage of this April 15th course. And if you sign up for it this month in January, you get 50% off the normal registration. If you sign up in February, it'll be 25% off. If you sign up in March, it'll be 10% off. If you sign up in April, it's just full price. So if you'd like to get the best possible deal, this would be the time to do this right now. To sign up for our Law of Self-Defense advanced class. This is a live class taught by me. It's live, but taught over Zoom, of course. It is a full day course of instruction. There is a certificate option as well for this class. You can learn more about that at lawofselfdefense.com/advanced. So the simulator. So I would carry around this $20,000 simulator, and I would teach my full day class, the Law of Self-Defense advanced class. And so 6 hours, 7 hours of instruction on self-defense law. And then we would run the students through the simulator. And the simulator would project on a screen a video image of a prospective bad guy. The student would have an infrared pistol, like a SIRT pistol kind of thing. Sometimes we also used an infrared OC canister. And the student would have to solve the problem, applying what they'd learned through the course of the day in our Law of Self-Defense advanced course. And the video only runs for 60 seconds, 90 seconds. They're pretty short. And after they had solved the problem, and that might involve the fake pepper spray or the fake pistol or nothing, just verbal commands, it all depended on the student. After they had solved the problem, the video would end and they had to turn their back to the screen and explain to the rest of the class what they saw, what they did, and why they did it. Now, keep in mind, this is a completely harmless environment. There is no danger. They'd have to trip over their own feet to get hurt. It's just a video image. But the stress that people would experience was unbelievable. Their breathing would escalate, the heart rate would escalate, their hands would shake. Their ability to remember what they saw was severely depreciated. They couldn't remember what they saw, or they would claim to have seen things that weren't there. They couldn't remember what they did, or if they remembered what they did, they couldn't remember the timing of what they did. Like we'd ask them, well, when did you present your pistol? And they'd say, well, when the guy pulled out the knife. And the whole class saw them whip out their pistol the moment the video started. Now, they're not lying, but the way our brain captures and stores and recalls information under stress is completely different than our normal experience. It was defective, essentially. Didn't accurately reflect what was projected on the screen. And if you can't remember what you did, it's certainly hard to justify it legally, right? So it was very informative to the students how even this very low level of completely fake stress could impact their decision-making, their recall, all of that. Very informative. That was really the most important thing that came from it. Now, I did notice every once in a while, we get a cop in the class who had run through, because this is a big company, TI Simulators was the company that made the device, the training equipment. And a a lot of police officers had been through their kind of videos before, and they were familiar with them. And so if you'd been through it once or twice before, you did a really good job handling the scenario, obviously. So what was the simulator useful? I think it's most useful when you are naive to the videos. Now, I will caution that a lot of the videos, most of the videos were pretty bad. So the system, $20,000 system, came with like 800 videos. None of them had been scripted by someone who actually understood self-defense law. So when I watched, and I watched all the videos, believe it or not, when I watched these videos, I ultimately found somewhere between 30 and 40 that I could use that somewhat accurately reflected self-defense law. So only about 5% of the videos were useful from a legal perspective. The others were not. And a lot of the videos were designed for police use and then kind of modestly edited for civilian use. But of course, police have a different mandate, a different mission than civilians, right? They go to danger. They can be the initial aggressors, the initial person to use or threaten force. That's part of a police officer's job. It doesn't apply to civilians. So you do have to be careful about those videos. Plus, when you've been through the videos a couple times, well, you know them now. So doing them again doesn't help you very much in terms of decision making. So in terms of a lot of higher end gun stores, these country club type places have these systems installed, and you can rent time on it. I think that would be useful. They have to provide someone to run the machine for you. It wouldn't be me. I mean, when I ran the simulator, of course, I did it, and I know self-defense law. So I would take whatever, who knows where they get their people who run the machines, who I guess it's just a guy from on staff. They may not know self-defense law very well. So you might have to take what they say with a grain of salt. But if you get the free book, lawselfdefense.com/free book, and you understand self-defense law, you can gain useful insight from running through those scenarios, at least, one time a scenario, maybe 2 times a scenario. In terms of buying a machine to use at home, I just don't think it would be useful. First of all, the good ones are, as I say, really expensive. And the videos tend not to be that good. And once you've been through them once or twice, they're really not of use anymore to you for training purposes. I have seen systems, more common systems, less sophisticated systems that don't project the whole bad guy scenario, but they just have targets that respond to being, hit with an infrared beam. You can do stuff like clearing exercises in your house, or frankly, you can make up scenarios with your friends and family that they role play for you with your make sure you're using the infrared gun, obviously. And so for terms of gun handling, marksmanship, I think that's great. Even better would be if you got into, practical shooting, IDPA, USPSA, even steel matches, although you don't present from the holster there. But, having to make quick and accurate shots safely under some kind of pressure, time pressure, social pressure, will have an enormously positive impact on your mental bandwidth under modest stress. It kind of inoculates you against the damage that stress can cause to your decision-making, as well as safe gun handling. I mean, I can tell instantly. If I'm in a gun store and I see someone handling a gun, I can tell instantly if they have much experience in practical shooting, because nothing compares to the quality of gun handling you see from those competitive folks. So that's what I would say about that, Wendy. I should also say the system I used, I stopped using about 5 years ago. So I don't actually know what's available on the market today. But the general things I described, how the videos kind of wear out in terms of utility, I think that would be true of any system. And the fact that the videos tend not to be very legally soundly scripted, I wouldn't expect that to change. I mean, they haven't asked me to script them. TI did. The company I had the simulator from, they did. In fact, they had me script a whole bunch of scenarios, and they have a green screen studio. They brought in actors, and we filmed a bunch of legally sound scenarios, and then they dropped out of that part of the market. So those, unfortunately, those scenarios were all filmed with real actors on my scripts, but they were never ultimately produced.